And I feel like people are not woke enough. Like people are not awake to or they're not awake to what's going on currently. You know what I'm saying? And it's due to distraction.
The Habesha community seems they seem to turn a blind eye to the whole the Black Lives Matter movement.
My first protest actually was the death of Mike Brown. I live right next to Ferguson, maybe like 10 minutes. So I popped out, and I remember someone called me, and excuse my language, a nigger. And I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are some really racist people in this world.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of 3.5 Men Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny B. I'm here with the new cousin, Nahom, and little Squeak, little Ermias.
What it do?
We have a special guest today, everybody. I want y'all to introduce my man. He is a student right now. Yes, sir. Give him kumbaya. At the University of Missouri in Science and Technology, majoring in information science technology. My guy, advocate for everything, the most logical man I ever met in my life, Yonas.
What's up? How's it going, guys? What's up with it?
What it do, bro?
Greetings.
We here, bro.
And,
Hey, man.
I just want to add one more thing. I'm also serving a God. I feel like that's important, so put that in there as well. Sure.
Amen. Yes, sir.
Facts.
A great deacon. Great deacon. Since we're talking about deacons, shout out to every deacon in St. Louis, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. Jonas, man, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. I know we gave you a small introduction, man, but we want the folks to hear from word of mouth, man. Go ahead and let us a little bit about yourself, man.
Of course, full Habesha, you know what I'm saying? Grew up, was born and raised in St. Louis. Really love my city, and right now, at 21 years old, I'm almost done with college, got a year left, and as my dude Johnny said, majoring in information science and technology, with a minor in cybersecurity emphasis, and then also in business. But more than that, I'm trying to start a movement, you feel me? And I'm more on that financial freedom movement. So I hope people watch out for me, watch out for your boy. But I just want to get some things rolling, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy y'all let me on here because my nigga Johnny, I love to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Hey, we can talk all day, nigga. We can have freaking 4 podcasts, bro.
Get this rolling.
But we're going to go ahead and jump right into it, man. And you already know what we're going to start off with. We're going to start off with the 400 plus years of the systemic oppression, this radical ass president that we got in office, the torture and the pain that's been put on African American men and women in this country, the systemic oppression that's been put on us, and they just threw us in the fire. That's what we're gonna start with, but we're gonna start off with a specific story that some news that broke out earlier this week. And if it didn't get videotaped, Lord knows what the media would have told us. You know what I'm saying? And that's the good thing about how everything evolves nowadays. We got social media, so we can record, pick up, and hey, can't lie. The video didn't lie, and that's exactly what I'm gonna get into. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna get this little story. Went ahead and on Google searched it up, man. So I don't want to get nothing wrong, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read this, and then we're gonna talk about it after that. So today's June 2nd. That means a week ago from today, on May 25th, the Minneapolis police officers arrested George Floyd, a 46-year-old black man, after a Delhi employee called 911, accusing him of buying cigarettes with a counterfeit $20 bill. 17 minutes after the first squad car arrived at the scene, Mr. Floyd was unconscious and pinned beneath 3 police officers, showing no signs of life. He had a knee on his neck for approximately 8 minutes and 36 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, man, I can't emphasize, how, it breaks my heart just talking about this story. I don't think people understand that we're really hated just off of our skin color, just off of how we carry ourselves every day. And yeah, we're Ethiopian. So of course, we don't know the full story, but just because of our skin color, just because of our complexion, we are put in the same group. And the sad thing is how we're seen as we're just another statistic to society. And really, what upset me is this whole time, it's been a week, and we've seen protests like never before. In my opinion, I ain't never seen no rioting. I haven't seen no, what I'm saying. I haven't seen stores burnt down in my lifetime, though. I'm speaking for this generation. I haven't seen stores burned down, corporations yelling and actually giving their stance on this situation. So that gives me the belief that we're due for change. After so long, after Trayvon Martin, after Alton Sterling, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, Tamira Rice, Mike Mike Brown, after everything, I feel like we're due for change. So I'm not going, everybody knows my view on it. I've spoke about it. I'm going to keep speaking about it. So what I want to hear your opinion and your stance on everything that's going on. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of chatter that we don't need to be rioting. There's another way. But I do recall back exactly 4 years ago, a man named Colin Kaepernick, quarterback in NFL, took a peaceful protest and knee during the national anthem, and they told him to shut up and just play football, and that your political stance is right now disrespecting our veterans. As far as I know, a flag is just something polyester we can buy from the store and I can get another one. If it's so valuable, yes, we know the meaning behind it, but right now, the meaning behind that national anthem was liberty and justice for all. And what he kneeled for was to have liberty and justice for all humans in America, for everybody in America. And there wasn't liberty and justice for everybody. So I just want you to dive into that. I want you to dive into this whole stance.
So I would say that it's a very complicated and tricky situation, and that I want to be very careful on what I say. And that's just so I don't evoke conclusions into some people, So I want to say what I have to say, and then people can let that sit in their heart and understand what they think it means. But I think that for a fact, we know there was slavery for 400 years. I know for a fact we have Jim Crow laws for about 150 to 200 years. And I know for a fact that nowadays there's still racism, but in the way of systemic racism, as they say, institutionalized racism. And there still is blatant racism too. And, when I remember my first protest actually was the death of Mike Brown. I live right next to Ferguson, maybe like 10 minutes. So I popped out, and I remember someone called me, and excuse my language, a nigger. And I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are some really racist people in this world. And I've been racially profiled plenty of times, and I know racism exists, and I know this for sure. But I will say that right now is very tricky, because I was talking with my friend actually, and we were talking about this, and he was like, it's time to stand up, and we should riot, and we should protest. I believe 100% that we should protest, but with my heart, rioting doesn't sit well, because I think of what God would do, or what He would want me to do as His vessel. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a good example is Martin Luther King. I've done a lot of research on MLK Jr., and what I saw is that his approach was just so biblical. And I feel like when you fight everything with love, it's really hard for hate to win. They have a quote where they're like, the only way you can make a friend of an enemy is with love. And I feel like that's logical, isn't it? Because I feel like if, for example, my boy Johnny, who we got love for each other, but let's say we fell off and he goes, I don't like this and that, swoop, that, and he coming at me with mad disrespect and mad hate, I'm probably finna reciprocate that energy. That's just human nature. We're emotional beings, so I feel as if like we need to approach it more peacefully, but show your anger, and show you are mad and you're done and you're tired, and show these things. But I feel like rioting and burning things down, that's the works of the devil. That's how I look at it, at least.
Oh yeah.
He wants destruction. You know what I'm saying? He wants you to do that because I feel like let's try and step in other people's shoes. Let's say I was racist, you know, and I could never be that. I'm black, you know what I'm saying? But like, let's just say I was racist and I was some man, and I'm looking at this in his lens and his perspective. If this man already hate black people and he see black people looting and burning stuff down, wouldn't that make him hate black people more? You think? Like, wouldn't that make logical sense to you? I don't know, like at least emotional sense, common. Do you think he'd be like, oh, I see their anger, or would he be like, oh, they're justifying my reason even more?
No doubt.
That's facts for sure.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, but how do you show that you're mad?
Well, I think that you can show that you're angry through emotion. You know, like when you sit out there and you have people on the speakers, it's like, we're done. We are tired. This can no longer be. That evokes emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we've been doing that for 400 years then.
400 years. So my sister wants to input what she thinks.
Of course. Go ahead. Introduce her real quick for us, Jonas.
My sister Maza hiding behind the crack.
Hey Maza, how you doing? This is the 3.5 Men podcast.
Oh, this is a podcast?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. But hey, you're more than welcome to put your input. We need your 2 cents. We're trying to revolutionize.
All I have to say is,
give her the audio.
I just feel like, what are you doing now?
Audio.
Yeah, tell her come in real quick.
Can y'all hear me now?
She don't want to come in.
Yeah, I'm definitely not coming in. But all I have to say is that a lot of people want to use MLK as an example to sit down and be quiet and be peaceful. But like, that's not the only way. And also, in the 1950s and 1960s, yes, he led a peaceful movement, but there was a lot of stuff that happened before that that's not included in our textbook. And that's why I hate that people him as the only example, because there's been so many other people who do have, like, you know, peaceful protests and also try to do similar things to him. But the whole rioting and looting thing, a lot of people don't understand that. And I think it's because they're not lost, but the idea of capitalism has shifted their loyalty. Like, they don't understand the point because, you know, okay, I'm just going to stop talking because it's awkward.
No, it was good. Hey, she preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Preaching to the choir.
But, yeah, and that's my sister Maza, bro. She's the biggest advocate for all this, no cap. And she's definitely very in tune with the motion and very in tune with the movement. But, you know, and she has like a lot of good points as well. But I'm just trying to see like what is the best way to handle this.
I think. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go.
I think with what you said about how like there's a way to protest, right? I think an important thing to realize within these tragic events is that human beings, throughout history, history tells us that we are our own enemies, right? Like, I'm black, so history tells me that the white person should be my enemy, right? But what the Bible says, Ephesians 6:12, we don't wrestle against we wrestle against principalities of this earth. Human beings are not our enemy. The devil is our real enemy, right? So if the devil is our real enemy, how are we gonna conquer the devil? There's one true perfect being that conquered the devil, and that's Jesus. So if we want to really, really cleanse this world of this evil, this disgusting evil that the devil is like putting into people's minds, we have to use faith as that spearhead. You know what I mean? But I mean, obviously, you know, with these type of things, I know that America is not really like it's not necessarily, people don't gravitate towards that. People are going to try to do it on their own, on their own power, right? And so I think that's an important thing that people need to realize. Like, we're not really our own enemy. Like, there's a greater enemy. The enemy wants you to fight amongst each other because he doesn't want you to see what he's really doing, right? And so that's how I view it. Like, a white person, any person on this earth isn't my enemy. There's a greater enemy, right? Like, because
it's all about love at the end of the day. But I mean, I think that's how we should look at these type of situations. Like you said, like what would Jesus do? But
Yeah, like
Mhm.
I think my beliefs really correlate with Nahum's as well. But I do want to say though, like, because what's really funny is people are quick to judge me due to my opinion. What they don't understand is I am for the movement. I'm a black man myself. You know what I'm saying? I understand the black man struggle, and I understand what is going on in this country is not okay. But I feel as if they need to understand that I see um, a bigger problem behind it, just as Nahum. You know, I feel like the enemy, like the true like evil one, the devil, let's say, is the one that wants us to fight against each other. Cause I think about it like this too. Like you're not born racist, bro.
exactly,
Like
you're not.
there's no possible way you're born racist. That is taught. And as we know, this
Oh
world
yeah, facts.
and this world teaches you evil. And so I just want to know, like, perhaps what's the best way to go about this, you know? And I feel like the rioting isn't. I believe peaceful protest is a way. Like, look at the world and what's going on. They're making it very, very aware there's injustice going on. And I just feel as if some of the things that are being done are questionable. But also, let's get into this because I'm somewhat, no cap, a little conspiracy theorist, okay? And when I
Oh, great. This guy now, you got nothing triggered now.
Good.
and
Best
Go
friends.
ahead.
and like seriously, I feel like they want this division. You know what I'm saying? They want this division. Who are they? I don't know necessarily. Who are they? But there are people that want this division, you know? And I had a very, very intelligent professor, and he was an 80-year-old white guy. And I've never seen a man more for black rights than this dude. And I mean, when I say honestly, from the bottom of his heart, I could tell he truly cared about black people. And it's because he grew up in an era where he would see people lynched. He would tell us this. He was like, and one day he's going on this rant. He loves to go on rants. He goes, no, guys. And this is a business class. He goes, guys, America is racist. And like everyone, all these white kids look uncomfortable. He's looking around. And he's looking at everyone and he goes, no, look, the people in power are racist, but they're scared now because they're dying away. And he said, nowadays, minorities are starting to lead. And he looks around, he goes, look at the minorities in this class. Look at all the African Americans. Look at all this. Look at this. He goes, you guys are starting to have power. Don't forget that. But what I saw is that he understands that there's more to it, and he knows that and from other conversations we've had, like there's more to it, and there are like higher ups, I believe, that incorporate this hatred, you know, unto us, and they want this division. If people think that's a lie, then what about the redlining? What about Jim Crow laws? What about this? The people wanted division, obviously, for whatever reason and purpose.
The media plays a big role in it too. Probably one of the biggest roles in this.
Oh yeah.
So, but it really is an evil that, you know, I think an important thing for us to also to realize is that this world really is a fallen world. And when you come to terms with that, you're not gonna, it offers a better way to picture this world. Like, because you realize that, like, not everybody is gonna see the world the way you do. Not everybody is gonna, like, for example, like we said with the looting. Some people are gonna feel the looting is justified because it's, like I was telling Yonas this earlier. At the beginning, like when you, let's say it's like a Super Bowl, right? One team they're probably gonna, like, the first couple plays in the game, they're gonna hit you in your mouth. They're gonna hit you hard. Why are they doing that? They're doing that to set the tone of the game, right? Because they're doing that to let you know, hey, this game is serious. You're gonna take me seriously. I want the best out of you. You know what I mean? And so some people view looting as the same. It's gonna set a tone. Whether it's justified or not, that's for some people to, you know, for people to debate. But what I'm saying is, we shouldn't look at looting and be like, okay, like we shouldn't be all, you know, we shouldn't kind of be scared about it or not. We shouldn't have a negative opinion of it, is what I'm saying, because people, it's 400 years worth of this, man. Like people are emotional, like you said. People are more emotional beings. So
I mean, they're emotional.
looting.
They're emotional, but with emotion, we can still control ourselves with emotion.
We can, yeah.
Regardless. But I mean, if you're gonna destroy stuff going around, at least destroy the companies that are the ones like not for
Yeah.
you.
If anything,
Walmart,
though,
man. Go for
Yeah.
Walmart. They got too much money, man.
go for
Shit,
the
hey,
man. Atlanta did it right. They went on that whole block and buckheaded, knocked them down,
Yeah.
bro.
I got a friend that y'all probably know of, and he and I won't say names though, but he was telling me how he be stealing a little bit. I'm giving him lectures like, bro, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. He goes, nah, bro, I don't steal from people, I steal from Walmart, nigga. That's a different.
Period, bro. That's it. That's a whole other difference, bro. They got so much money, bro. But this is my whole thing about the like looting and stuff, bro. Like I said, people are saying we don't need to use this tactic. Our tactic is using violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been told everybody. I even told my mom. I said, look, every country, maybe in Africa, said the same thing you said when it was time for y'all, when everybody else was getting colonized and y'all didn't. Every country probably followed that same tactic, saying, man, we just need to pray and God will be there. And God, before I eat, I pray. But because I prayed, God won't put that food in my mouth. I got to go and I got to feed myself. He presented me with the meal. It's up to me to go ahead and eat the food. Just like he gave me the ability to go and get what I need daily to like my daily necessities, my daily commodities. He gave me them. It's my duty to go and apply those. It's my duty to go and work and make money for provide for me. It's my duty to go and eat and live and pay bills and go to school and do all these things. Our people didn't sit around and they didn't wait for change to come. They did pray and they did they did exactly what it took to have freedom in their country. And if you see every country in Africa right now is colonized by the British, French, Italy, all of them. But what I'm saying is right now, Ethiopia is one of the two countries that are not colonized. And if they didn't fight, if they did what we did, what we're attempting to do and try to keep it peaceful and not fight back, because what the police are doing is they're retaliating, and we're not even putting our force out yet. We haven't really done anything yet, like for real. We haven't been aggressive or used force with them. The people in general haven't even used force yet. And they were immediately retaliating, deploying National Guards and stuff. But what I'm saying is that now that's just me. I mean, I think I've been fed up with it because it's been so long, and I've seen too many. Like, it's sad that Philando Castile was 2 years ago. That's how long ago it feels, bro. And that's how, like, we talk about this every day, and there's no change. And we talk. That's the thing. We talk in peace. We articulate. And that's the thing. If this language can't be understood, the language of peace and language of just articulating to one another, then the next one is definitely us having to be, you know what I'm saying, us being the aggressors and actually putting our foot down and telling people, no, like, this is it. That's where I'm at. That me personally that's where I'm at. That's just where I'm at. I went to Protest Friday, the Knoxville one, and it was peaceful, bro. And I didn't want to just go and start shit. How did you feel? I felt like I made a change, because when I went there, it wasn't as much black people as I thought, and it was way more white people than I ever thought would even come, bro. It was so much white people, bro. I was like, bro, okay, I know change is coming. Like, every time I say every day, bro, I know change is coming, bro, because I've never seen this many white people protest and advocate for black people as much as I did in the past week everywhere around the world. I've never seen that. European countries advocating, protesting for people. George Floyd's name's being sung in New Zealand, bro. Yeah. New Zealand, that's predominantly white country. It's a white country, bro, white nation. And what I'm saying is that I know change is gonna come, but we can't let our foot off the gas here. Like, we're just laying our foundation down, bro. We're just now building we're just now starting the conversation, and we didn't have it yet. The conversation of reform in our justice system, and for them to go ahead, and we need to have this one-on-one and talk about this systemic oppression that's been dealt with for the past hundreds of years.
I think an important thing to also realize, to piggyback off what you said, is like we have to. The Habesha community seems they seem to turn a blind eye to the whole the Black Lives Matter movement, and that's problematic because look at Amadou Diallo. It's been 20 years since 4 police officers they shot this man 41 bullets in his body because they mistook him for a rape suspect. 41 bullets in one man. And he was I think he was from Guinea.
Yeah.
Guinea, something like that.
New Guinea.
And so like at the end of the day, they're not gonna see what country you're from. They're not gonna see, oh, this guy's African, right? Like this guy's African, he's from here, he's from here. If any of us walk into a mall, there's a high chance that we're gonna be followed, right? And we're all African. Some of us are born here. We're all Ethiopian. Some of us are born here. Some of us are born in Ethiopia. But it doesn't matter. This is the commonality we have. It's all the same. And so that's why it's important that we instill in the Habesha community, like, yo, like you can't turn a blind eye to something because this affects you, right? Like black people, like Jonathan said last week, black people walked so that we can crawl, right? They laid down the carpet. They laid down the woodwork for us to even be able to live in this, in this beautiful country, right, and have the opportunity. So that's something we gotta really address in the Habesha community because we can't stand for that, honestly.
I would say I agree because I think they turn a blind eye due to ignorance sometimes, and it's just a matter of not truly understanding that they do share a commonality, which is their skin color, and that a man with racism in his heart, per se, wouldn't necessarily look at an Ethiopian any different from a black born American. And that's really interesting. And also I want to touch up on something Johnny said, and he goes, because it's fun fact, really, like Ethiopia has never been colonized, and a lot of people don't know that actually, and it is due to war, and it is due to fighting and standing up. And I never really truly don't think, or never said I don't think it's okay to not have war of some sort or to stand up and to fight, because look at the Israelites and even in that time, and look at the Civil War with America in the time of Abraham Lincoln, and we can depict these situations and see that sometimes it is okay. But what I'm looking at today is I feel like looting or rioting isn't necessarily war. Like, who are you fighting? The glass windows to get in, like, Target or something?
Right,
And not to be like goofy when I say that, but I feel like also it's like, when is it right to fight? When is it justified to fight too? That's a really important question, because I feel like there is some justification to it. And I agree, people have anger in them, I feel like people truly do have some animosity between what's going on and what is present today. But I feel like what is the best action, like I feel like also, maybe, I don't know what you guys think, you guys can put your input too, is like I feel like we would need somewhat more of a generalized leader to lead us in this movement too, rather than several leaders, and several hundred people trying to keep the movement pushing, because leaders will, amongst each other, will have differing opinions and thoughts, and that's okay. But I feel like we need a leader in a body of some sort, and to get this movement going, and to say, we are justified to do this, and we are justified not to do this. Because there's a lot of, like, what's crazy is, like, we protest as a whole for one thing, but a lot of people have these differing opinions of, hey, I feel like, we should do this, or we shouldn't do that, guys, or this is not right ethically or morally, this and that. So, like, what's our indoctrinating government of some sort?
Yeah, I agree. I think, like, the president, like, that's in charge now, like, although he might not be, like, although he may be, like, saying, like, I'm going to send out military task force and all this stuff and anti-terrorist groups, whatever, like, to, for people in the streets, like, at the same time, he's not really standing up for anything either. So, like, him and, like, his background and things that he's been accused of, and just stuff he said in the past, like, it only just gives some of these, like, other, like, racists who may have been, like, kind of like low key or the ones who didn't speak up. Like he's only giving them more of a voice now, you know. So like, you know, I agree. Like, you know, if he stood for something and like truly like, you know, spoke up about it, like yeah, like it would definitely make a difference to some of the.
This man said when the looting starts, the shooting
The
starts.
shooting.
You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about?
Stuff like
What a
that.
racist. They said there was also what a racist Miami police officer used to say, like in the 50s.
Yeah, no, they brought it up.
1980s?
Yeah.
It's somewhere around that time.
Yeah. Like,
And Trump said he didn't know about it. Like, dude, are you serious?
he's only giving
It's-
he's giving them more of a voice, you know. Like that's the only thing. Like he's making them feel more empowered. Like
It's the same. That's the arrogance he uses. I feel like that's just the type of propaganda. Like he refers to people of color that are protesters, or just people of color in general, as thugs. And then his group that he's you know what I'm saying, MAGA group. And he's saying when he said MAGA group, it slipped out his mouth because he said us, we. He referred to MAGA group as we. Who is we? We is, in his eyes, the white supremacist nationalist group that he clearly enforces that anger and emotion that drives them. That's what drives them. They never had no true love, and they haven't had no compassion to sit down and have a conversation with us and say, hey, what is it? For nobody's superior to one another. You put them guns down. At the end of the day, if me and you were to fight and I beat the shit out of you, God can't save you. It's going to be one-on-one. There's no, look, if it's just me and you, we're just going to have to talk it out and hash it out. That's it. But to just, you know what I'm saying, just be so damn ignorant and like act like clearly nothing is happening but the looting and rioting is completely, that's it. That's when all this shit happens and you run into a bunker, that's just ignorant. Come on.
No, and I think also that's the issue that people are so hyper focused on that. Like there's a bigger picture, bro, besides the looting and the rioting. You know what I'm saying? And like even me talking about whether or not if I think it's right or wrong, that's not even the discussion or the main premise at the end of the day. You know, at the end of the day is there's injustice going on in the streets, bro. Like what happened with George Floyd, bro, is obviously pretty messed up. Like, you know, and it's happened numerous times, bro. This is not the first time. Like, and I feel as if these things kind of distract people from what's really going on, you know, in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot of distraction in the world because one day, if you guys really pay attention, one day something is trending on Twitter and then the next day something new happens. So what happens? You forget about yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like people really distracting people too. And you know, and if you take a political science course, they teach you about like agenda setting. Like this is something the media does, and they have set agendas. Like when you watch your local news, bro, or your like countrywide news, like CNN or something or Fox, like they're on scripts, bro. They're scripted.
Yeah, they're running off scripts.
Talk about something, and I feel like they set in the tone, and that's not okay sometimes because whose side are they on? That's something to really think about and process. And I feel as if people are too distracted, and they need to really see the bigger picture and the purpose of what's going on today.
Shoot, people have already forgotten about coronavirus, like
literally, bro. That's kind of where I was going with it. Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's tough, man. I don't know. I think that just until everybody puts their like this the hatred and act like nothing is happening. They got they goggles on right now. We're just gonna have to take them off and just address this big elephant in the room. Until that's not addressed, we're probably no steps are going forward. That's how I feel though. But that's just.
I mean, as a whole though, I feel like this whole thing is bringing the Black community together. Because I saw the Crips and Bloods in Atlanta. They linked up together to help for this. That's it's been hella years since they ever done that. Last I did that was when Biggie and Tupac were killed.
Yeah, you see a lot of like, you know, unification now, and I just hope that it just doesn't die down like the rest of the protests. I hope we actually stand for something and actually make change now. Like change is now, not later on.
I don't think there's a way it could get smaller than this because it's got big to this point. It's only gonna get bigger, like regardless of the rioting or not, peaceful or not. people are gonna choose either peaceful or riot. I feel like it's gonna get worse. Even though, I mean, I'm half and half, honestly. I don't know. I'm still deciding which
It's gonna
one.
be crazy
I'm
when this
trying.
when this is in our kids' textbooks and stuff, bro. Like it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
I think we'll-
2020 is going to be one textbook. It's probably going to be
Right.
one course, honestly.
There's
I
a
just
whole
feel
thing,
like
man.
Seriously, I
no
actually
bullshit.
think, uh-huh.
No bullshit.
Okay.
Like COVID is 4 chapters, easy. And then
Four
this,
chapters, bro.
just put there's no way, too much. Murder hornets. That's where you can put that in any goddamn subject you want. Like, it's like, what the fuck? 2020 is gonna have its own textbook, bro, because this is crazy shit. And it's the 2nd of June. We're not even halfway through the year, bro. Like,
Bro, that's so true, bro. That
it's
is so
scary, bro. This
How
shit's
worse can
scary.
it get is the thing. It's the big question. How worse can
Some
it get?
people think
Clearly
the world's
worse.
ended, bro. Some people think it's gonna hit a line and then Jesus coming back, bro.
Honestly, bro. Like,
I'm
people
ready for
already
whatever,
quoting.
honestly.
They're
I'm ready.
quoting Revelations, bro. Like, it's pretty
I have a
scary.
question. I was watching the news with my parents yesterday, and they were talking about how Trump is almost like actioning towards martial law, like sending military and all this. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
First,
go
can
ahead,
you
man.
can you explain what martial law is for the viewers?
Okay. I
And for
believe.
me, of course.
Okay. And I could be wrong here, so don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure martial law is, for example, like when there's a state of emergency of some sorts, or there is a nationwide issue, the military, I believe, rule over the government so that democracy it vanishes slightly. And it's usually temporarily, I believe. I don't think we've ever really been in martial law, but I could be wrong and research that. And so therefore, like what's going on with now, and all the world getting together, but a lot of the damaging and the rioting and stuff going on, I feel like Trump is like, yo, if we can't get in control of things and take control of things, we will get the military to take place and do so. But when martial law is enacted, people lose a lot of their freedoms, their everyday freedoms. And I feel as if that's very dangerous, because at that point, who's really calling the shots, when our democracy is not there and our freedom is not there.
And one thing within martial law, you also got to realize, like, I think the president, he's been, this is part of, I think he's been building up to this, because for one, if martial law is enacted, number one, his presidency continues. So the upcoming election's already canceled. And so basically, like you said, we lose our democracy and it becomes a dictatorship.
Mm.
And so I feel like gradually, like the media itself, as much as he bashes the media plays into his wanting of enacting martial law. And so we also really have to, the biggest thing we have to be nowadays, we have to be woke and we have to be spiritual, right? Like, because we really need to know what's going on in the world around. Like, we can't just be neglecting and saying, nah, I'm gonna watch Netflix, or I'm gonna, play whatever. I'm gonna enjoy my time in another way. Like, nah, dude, you really don't know what's going on in this world, honestly. You don't know who's ruling over. You don't know anything. So it's really dangerous
to add on to Nahum, because I'm actually 100% with that and what he said. And I feel like people are not woke enough. Like, people are not awake to what, or they're not awake to what's going on currently. You know what I'm saying? And it's due to distraction. Like you said, like, people stay watching Netflix. Like, if and I could really prove this. Get me on another podcast and we could have a whole parade, bro. Because I could come back with the documents and the facts. And like the CIA started like Hollywood and these Disney big corporations to give information to the masses, to the people. You know what I'm saying? Because how many people watch TV, bro? How many people watch movies? How many people watch this and that and listen to music and do this and that? So that's how you really attract the masses, because not everyone watches news necessarily, but a lot of people watch their favorite actor, they watch their favorite TV show, or they watch that has a lot of subliminal messages, and not even just more than that, bro. It takes time from you, bro. Like time is your most important resource. If God asks me, hey Jonas, what do you want? If he asks me, what do you want in life right now the most? I'd say I want time. Because I could always make another dollar tomorrow. I really could. I could always make another dollar after tomorrow. I could always go without a meal today and go meal tomorrow. But what I can never get back is time, bro. And everyone should really fathom that. You don't ever get that back. But yet we're stripping our time away. Like we came to this earth for a bigger purpose, bro. So if we're too busy being distracted, how are we gonna even find our true selves, our higher selves, and find our true purpose in this world, bro? Like I feel like too many people are confused on who they are, and that leads to unhappiness. That leads to confusion. That leads to ultimately depression. That leads to not being aware of who you are as a person. Like I remember hearing this man speak once, and he was talking to this host, and he goes, "Who are you?" He goes, "I'm John Doe." And because I forgot the host name, but like John Doe, and he goes, John Doe, like that's the name your mother gave you. Like, who are you? I sat there like, damn, that's some deep shit. You know what I'm saying? Because you're flesh, bro. you flesh, bro. But inside of you is a spirit. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Do you truly know who you are? Like your parents named your flesh. You know what I'm saying? And who you are in the outside. But I feel like people don't truly know who they are in the inside, bro. We were made in God's image, bro. Like that is powerful. The Bible speaks and says that, you know, God has set eternity in your heart. He didn't do that to animals, bro. He did that to humans. Like we have a higher purpose, and we know this. We have conscious free will. We think. You know what I'm saying? And we understand there's more to life, unlike other creatures on this earth. But yet, many of us don't see this or know this or comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? So like Nahum said, bro, stop being distracted. People too distracted, bro.
I think what really plays along to what you just said, though, I don't know if you know, Jonas, if you read this book. It's called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And he basically talks about, like, in the book, Napoleon Hill, he has an interview with, quote unquote, the devil, right? And the devil basically tells him, he's like, how I get people, how I conquer 90% of this world. I have them in my grasp. And he said, and he asked him, how do you do that? He said, I make them drifters. Drifters are basically people who the devil lures through all these different, like through the media world, through movies, through TV shows. And what does that do? It gets you away from your purpose, right? Because like you said, people live their lives. People spend more time on the television, on the game system, than more time on themselves. Like if you ask the everyday person, who are you? Like you said, who are you? What are your likes and dislikes? All right? Like what are your what makes you, what wakes you up, and what brings joy to your life? A lot of people can't answer that question. And that's dangerous. Like that really is, because at the end of the day, like what George Floyd said in one of his videos before he passed, before he was murdered, he said at the end of the day, it's gonna be you or God. You either going up. It's gonna be you and God. You either going up or you going down. So that's really what we gotta realize. But there's a bigger enemy. We gotta realize, like, he wants us to be divisive. He wants to be us to be divided, rather. But you know, it's sad, man. Honestly, it's sad.
What do you think life is about then, as everybody in here?
Go first, Nahum.
I think my thing is, like, I think it's more. I think the biggest thing is what it is. Fulfilling the purpose that God has for you. I think that's what the biggest thing it is, because I think we're called to do, we are given earthly talents to fulfill heavenly callings. I think that's what it is. It's because God has a purpose for everybody in this earth, right? Like everybody's name is written in the book of life. And so, but at the end, whether on Judgment Day, whether our name is in it or whether it's not is up to us, right? And so I think a big part of it is the spiritual aspect of it, right? Because in Matthew 25, I think it's 25, where Jesus talks about the parable with he gave the talents, where he's like, he gave one person, the servant gave one person 5 times, one person 3, one person 1, and the whole a bigger picture about that was God is gonna hold you accountable for the talents he gives you, right? He's gonna say, what have you done with the talents I've given you, right? And if you're gonna say, okay, no, I didn't really, I watched Netflix, or I was on the game, or I was doing all the other things, you're getting away from God, and you're getting closer to what the devil wants you to accomplish. So short answer, I think it's really fulfilling God's purpose for you. That's what success is.
I would say, and to add on to that, because I agree, but it's also like I think of it in terms of like, why did God create us? You know, and you see, I've learned that, you know, and we know that God is perfect, right?
Right.
And He did not create us because of loneliness, obviously, because that stems from imperfection, which He is not. So He created us obviously because He wanted us. But why did He want us? He wanted us because He wanted us to know Him and His greatness, and to be one, to have fellowship with Him, to worship Him, to have devotion towards Him, to praise Him. God has made us for Him, but what God has done, interestingly enough, is God has given us free will, though. You
Mhm.
see, and God gave us the choice to reject or accept Him. But I feel like God always had the bigger picture with our purpose, because you see, we're not a slave. Like as a deacon, even I'm not no slave to God. I'm a servant of God. And when Mary went to Elizabeth and cousin Elizabeth, who birthed John the Baptist, when she said her praise, speaking of God, she said like, oh, how God has helped his like poor lonely servant, or talking about herself. And so that we know we're servants of God, we're not slaves, and this is due to the free will, because we willingly serve God. Because what stopped God from just making us his slaves? Why didn't He just program us to just accept Him? Because it's not authentic, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's so great about our free will. We can have authentic companionship with God. But what happens when we look at the history of the Bible, we know that man fell. You know what I'm saying? We know that Adam and Eve loved God. They walked in the garden with God, and God loved them. But what happened is that they ate the apple, and man has fell, and they sinned. So now what happened is we live in this world of sin, but God has always had a purpose. So now what's our purpose in the world? Well, it's Jesus. Like John 3:16 said, like John gave his only beloved son, and you guys know this, and you know, sacrificed it for the world, so we won't perish but have eternal life. You know, and I feel like now that we're in this earth, I think our main purpose on this earth is to restore that relationship and that companionship with God. You know what I'm saying? And we know very well, bro, the devil is smart, bro. This is the devil's world. Like, I don't know exactly where in the Bible, but it speaks of how the devil is the god of this world. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
Prince.
If this was God's world, do you think what is going on would be going on? No, God's world is heaven, bro.
Yeah.
But we're trying to find our place back with God. But you know, God has given us a lot of gifts, and we have a purpose on this world to I feel like bring and guide His children, and you know, and still live a happy life in this world. Like you could live a very happy life. You know what I'm saying? Like this world is still a blessing to an extent. But I feel like our purpose ultimately is to get back with God. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Um, I think a part of it though is like, obviously in heaven, I think here's how I look at it. Worship is the language of heaven. That's how I look at it. Like, because like the angels day and night, they're worshiping God, right? And so I think a big aspect of this world is it's like a language. We're here like through our worship itself on earth is a language. That's how I look at it, right? We may fall, we'll rise, we get back up, we fall. But in the same process, it's all about learning the language of worship through our highs, through our lows, through whenever we're just living a mellow life, whenever, you know what I mean, like it's all about like learning to master that language, and that language is worship, and a big part of that language is connecting with God. And so like you said, like my mind went blank. Somebody's gonna have to forgot what I was gonna say.
No, I think I'll just piggyback. I ain't gonna talk to it, but I think really like it is important to like identify like who you are and what your purpose is, because like you do got to know to an extent what you're, I don't want to say what you're good for, but what's the good you put out to other people, what brings them joy. And me personally, I just feel like when I just put my presence out, I don't really have negative energy around me. I try to have like, keep everything positive, just blend in. Like I learned how to humble myself over like years. And like what I learned is that like my effect on people is strong. So if I can genuinely make somebody smile every day, then I know that I did some good in the world. I know that I did, what I'm saying? I did my part. And at the end of the day, that's all I really care about. If I can go across everybody I know or anybody that I meet through my daily life. And if I can affect them in a great positive way, then I know God would be happy for me. But spiritually, I think I know I still have a lot of work to do. I mean, hell, I cuss every day. That's one.
Me too,
So I
bro.
mean, like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm first to admit, I will tell you my flaws. I'm not perfect. In no way, no shape, I'm perfect. But I'm gonna try, and I'll pray every day that I work on myself. I pray every day before I pray for myself. I pray for my family, my friends, and my loved ones before I do anything. I don't ever pray for what myself. I don't ever pray for what I want, because this is all materialistic. I don't pray for none of that. I don't pray for money. For that, I'm gonna go and earn it, because that's not what God want me to do. I just go and get that. Other than that, I just keep my head low and I just try to be me. And I like 2 years ago, I think that's when I like hit like a deep, you know what I'm saying, a deep like hole, and I was just figuring out who I am. And I just realized, like, damn, bro, like, it's 2018 and shit, I barely got friends. I mean, my life is like
I'm your
repetitive
friend,
as
bro.
hell.
I'm your
You know what I'm
friend.
saying? Yeah, but you know, it's like you by yourself and you just start
Yeah.
thinking like, damn, my life is repetitive. I do the same thing every day, and I don't know if I have enough like gas and tank to do this, bro. And I like really did have like it like had a. I'm not gonna say I had like I feel like the
Revelation.
mental health is like different, but like I'll just say like I really did have like a sit down with myself, and then I seen the change it within, and like even to this day, I'm trying. I'm not perfect. I don't have a chart to tell you how my growth has like expanded, but I can just tell you that like I've been trying. Like I try to tell people every day. I want them to tell me their problems so I can help. If that's step one, then so be it. But I'd rather help others before I help myself, because I know my time is coming soon. Like my time is in like my time to develop as a person, grow
Mm.
spiritually, and connect with God is coming. So I know until then, the knowledge that I have and the tribulations that I've been through, I can affect one by one, instead of just sitting here focusing on myself, which is important. But I put people first. I've been doing that.
Yeah, I feel that. I like for me, it's like, like my relationship with God like has definitely like developed since like when I was younger, throughout high school, and like up to this point in my life now, where it's like there's a point in time where you realize like you have to make it for yourself, and like I'm saying, like growing up, it becomes like your parents' faith, and like a faith that your community's a part of and stuff like that, and then you realize at a point like you know my adult life has started, like what I'm saying, like my relationship with God has to be like what I'm saying, unique, and I have to really make it my own. And so then that's why that's like the past couple of years, like just taking time to like really like reflect on my relationship with him, and like seeing how like the choices I make reflect like not affect not only me but like I'm saying others, like my family and stuff like that. So like I think like I like I said, like Jonathan said, like everybody's been saying, like there's always room for improvement, and like I've seen that even the past couple of years, like like yeah, there's things that like I pride myself on that I really work hard on, but there's still things that like I still have like ways to go, but I feel like once that I've made that like relationship with God very like very strong, and I see him, and like he's very real to me, that's when like I kind of just like make those steps, like take those steps forward to like really try and like make him proud in all aspects of my life, and so, and of course, like when you get older, like you continue to do that. And of course, when you have family, you have to be able to take on that load as well for them spiritually, beyond just the material things and stuff like that. So, like, but like right now, like in these, like what I guess you could say your 20s or something like that, when you're really trying to like discover yourself. I think that's where like that really like that plays a huge part in your life. So like that's really what I've been doing, like the past couple of years or so, and like even like in the future. So yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah.
That's good.
But one thing with life is like, honestly, we can't do this alone, because every day we're seeing people struggle. We're seeing people, be happy. But if you see someone struggle, how does that sit right with you? You feel me? Like we're here to help people. I feel like God is at like God's main like focus is love as a whole. And in love, there's happiness. In life, the whole thing with life is happiness. Because if you can't be happy, you can't do your work right. There's this video I watched yesterday. It said, it's not really working hard. That's not the intelligent part. The intelligent part is being happy. When you're happy, you work more. You're more driven. You support your knowledge. So No, y'all see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, most def.
So-
No, you're most definitely right.
I think what correlates with Jonas said earlier about time. Time really is the greatest asset, the greatest currency, because there are billionaires that are in their 70s and 80s that would probably trade every single penny to their name just to be how old we are, right? And it really is fleeting. We really got to understand that. Like time, like the devil really wants us to be negligent about that. He wants us to ignore that how the time really is. And so, we really got to discover who we are, because I think Mark Twain he said something about this one time. He said the day a person, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something about the day a person discovers who they really are, and that's the greatest day of their lives. Like they find out the reason they were born, like why did
Yeah.
God put me on this earth. And like after that, like after you figure that day out, bro, like your life becomes so much more clear. Like what more can you ask from at that point? Like
You
what,
know,
Pretty much.
I feel like people have this idea of success and purpose being equal to money, and I feel like they can't be any further from the truth, because I was one day, I have this story, like one day I was trying to go to Atlanta, and I remember I was trying to go with a bunch of my friends, and it was for the soccer game. And I remember my parents were like, yo, we just want you to come with us. You could still spend time with your friends, this and this and that. But I was like, nah, like, I just want to be at the hotel with my friends, at Airbnb. You feel me? Like, I love y'all, and I want this to be a full vacation just with my friends. I'm always going to soccer games with y'all, this and this. But they were like, nah, and they were like, if you don't go with us, and you can't go at all, and we won't go either. And me being hard-headed, I was like, shoot, I guess we ain't finna go. But what happened is I went to church, and it was a Saturday evening, and not our main priest, but the priest below Gussy's, he was our Gussy's, he was speaking to me, and he goes, hey, sit down. And I was like, cool. Hey, like, what's going on? He goes, so when you going to Atlanta? And I was like, because I told him, I was like, hey, I'm not going to go to church this Sunday. I'm going to be gone and this and this. And I was like, oh, I'm not going anymore. He goes, why? And I'm like, I'm just busy. I'm actually also taking a summer class. And I was kind of like BSing with him low key. And he looked at me, and he goes, is that the truth? And I'm like, okay, like my parents probably talked to him, you know what I'm saying? Because I think they felt really bad, and they wanted some guidance, and some advice. And I looked at him, and he goes, so is that the truth? And I was like, at this point, I can't lie to the man. I was like, nah, like, he was like, then what happened? And I tell him what happened and how we got in this disagreement, and I think I'm holding a grudge and this. And he proceeds to tell me his story about his life. And he tells me, and I don't want to put his life out there, but and I hope this touches someone else, but like it's like he was telling me how he was orphaned and he was raised in the church, and from there he became a deacon, and he grew up, and he told me, he goes, I as a deacon, I always prayed and I wished I wanted to be a priest. And then he goes, as I was getting into priesthood, I always prayed, and I wanted a family, because I'd never had a full family. And he explains how he wants these things. And look, I know him today, very successful man. And he explained to me how 20 something odd years ago, he planned his life out. Like he knew what he wanted in life, and he got everything from life that he wanted. He never wanted to be rich. And he laughed at me. He sat there. He goes, you don't think I could be rich? I could do anything I want through like the will and the grace with the grace of God. He goes, but I chose to be a priest and live humbly. And I chose to just have enough money, and I chose to have a family, a full family. And he explains how he planned this. And I saw in that day, I learned and saw that success don't equal money, bro. Like success and true intelligence is what you can get out of life that you want. You know what I'm saying? And I find him to be a very, very successful person, a matter of fact. And this is why he's rich. And this is why I feel like he's still rich, because he's rich in happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I see him never walk around without a smile. Mm-hmm. And he's rich with purpose. He knows his purpose as a priest and as a servant of God. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel as if people finding their purpose will be fulfilled in life. I feel like people try and find materialistic things to fulfill their life, but we know this, bro. We know this, and not just us with common sense. Science knows this, that happiness does not bring money. There's been many studies on this. And like Bill Gates said, he goes like, I know people want $1 million. It'll give you some type of freedom. But he said, I promise you after that, it's the same cheeseburger. Yeah. Meaning like another $1 million is just another $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
So there's this one author out there. His name is Jim Rohn. And in one of his speeches he gave, he said, happiness is not contained in what you get, like what you can physically touch or hold. Happiness is rooted in what you become. Right? And look at what your priest. He probably didn't have, according to the world's philosophy, he probably didn't have a lot. He didn't have a lot. But what did he have? He became a priest through the grace of God. God gave him a family. God gave him what he never had. Right? And that's the joy about it. It's about becoming. It's not about getting. It's about becoming. And so God always obviously wants all of us to be happy, but the thing is, our priorities and our emphasis on happiness, it lies in other places, like materialistic, like you said.
I like it. I respect your text, though. And I was like, I mean, they told me you were like an intellectual dude before. We got you on here and everything like that. Yeah, and I appreciate that. Like, it's respect. Like, I can like appreciate people's perspectives on things like that. But like, you seem to like take it to like a really deeper level, and like you obviously have a good understanding of like, the church, things like that. But just like a bigger things, just the bigger picture. Like, you get the bigger picture, I think. So like,
appreciate that, bro. I really do.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, man, we got to wrap things up. But before we leave, man, I want you to go ahead and explain what's going on tonight at 8 p.m. with the UOTY, man.
Yes, sir.
Give us the rundown of the topics, man.
Sir.
So tonight it's gonna start with a small prayer, and it's gonna be led by Tawahido, which you guys probably all know. And from there, there's gonna be some mazmurs from some people that signed up to sing and do what they want. And then from there, it's gonna be a lesson that's gonna be prepared by me. And ironically enough, which is really funny, is the lesson is on purpose.
Nice.
Actually, yeah. Ironically enough, and so that's gonna be at 8 p.m. and it's gonna be till about 9. And for anyone that sees this too, bro, I just gotta give love to my brother Tawahido. He started something so small that grew so big, because this UOTY St. Louis Zoom conference and call, and I think what started as something small and he wanted it to be a mahaber became something so large, and we're having teachers every Tuesday and Thursday, people of the priests or deacons, and a lot of people that come and with the grace of God, help us and grow and expand what we got going. So I appreciate T for starting that movement, and I hope he sees this too. But, yeah.
Yes, sir, man. Shout out to Tawahido, man. That's if everybody don't know, man. That's Malaka Gunna's son. But hey, we want to appreciate you, Jonas. This is your first episode, and this ain't your last, my brother. You might be joining us later on.
Appreciate it, bro.
Definitely gonna be joining us sometime soon, man. Hey, this is 3.5 Man Podcast, y'all. Y'all keep the filth. Watch out for Anchor Podcast, Apple, Spotify. Video drop on YouTube, man. And we appreciate y'all.
And we finally have an ad.
Yes, sir.
Really dope.
Yes, sir. We're sponsored by Anchor now, man. So they don't hear this throughout the whole podcast. But that's it, man. That's all I got. I appreciate you, Jonas.
The show. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me on.